masters, before the spirits, before my peers, before myself, that I shall keep secret all that is discussed, taught, written, and mentioned in the halls and classes of the BUCD academic program. Superiors, peers, and myself, until I have completed successfully my term as a student of the BUCD academic program. As well as to not reveal the identities of those who are fellow students enrolled in the BOUCD academic program. This is their honor. I shall not take it. I swear it in writing, I swear it in speech, I swear it to my peers, I swear it to myself. If I think my may I be forgiven by my peers. May I petition my spirits, and may I forgive myself. By walking away from those who would place their trust in my words. May I return only when I am ready to accept the responsibilities of a student of the BAUCD academic program. Nasi Sati.
Nasi Swati. Okay, Frank, go ahead. Give us the four-way test.
Four-way test. Is it the truth? Friendships. Did you hear me?
Well, we heard you in our hearts. I followed along with you as you were saying it. You guys are a little glitchy on that side, but we're getting you. You guys might want to try just sharing one video, seeing if that helps your streaming. I know you guys are wireless, and sometimes it puts a strain on it sometimes if you're both coming from different sources. It's a lot of video footage there coming through.
We'll just share it. I heard myself that time. Mute it. Mute it, Mama. All right, you hear me now?
Well, we hear you. Okay, so we're going to be playing a little bit of catch-up, so I've cut a couple of things out, trying to get us into, this should be week 7, and so what we're going to do is we're going to squeeze in a little bit of week 6 into this week 7. So I do want to go over the sumo method with you guys tonight, and then move into the rule of Benedict and why we utilize the rule. We will have a short session tonight. It shouldn't go that long, and I'd like to open up some discussion with you guys over this last assignment as well. So, sumo. Sumo was taught to me by one of my mentors, and he's a very honorable man. He is a Rosicrucian, and this is something that he uses in his practice with me. Sumo is an acronym, S-U-M-O, and what sumo stands for is shut up and move on. And this is something that I've had to catch myself doing a lot. And the reason why this is important is because we as figures, or those who are pillars, need to think about how we react to certain situations, especially in our community. I have really enjoyed some of the responses that you guys have given in certain situations, whether they're social things that are going on the mundane level, politically, socially, or if there are things going on in the spiritual community as far as bickering back and forth, or unethical practices being promoted, and it's just very fun. I have noticed some of you guys how you engage in debate. You'll say your piece, and you'll say it well, and this is something that should be very characteristic of us being pillars. So, shut up and move on. There's 7 questions that you ask yourself first before you respond to something. Let's take, for example, let's just take, for example, certain things that are going on right now within our community. In our community, we see that that there is a gossip, that there is a discord, that there is hate, jealousy. There are a lot of these things coming on. And you see a lot of people make elaborate posts about things and try to start things up. And you see a lot of people chime in and they start throwing in their opinions, and it turns into this very large ball of energy. Okay? And the words that we type have the same effect as the words that we speak. Okay? I was privy to something very well. I wasn't privy. I was made aware, as many Americans were, that. Let me back up a little bit. They say when you say something, you can't reach out and you can't bring it back, right, in real life. And we've all been there. We've all said things, out of, just, immediate response, and then we feel guilty for what we've said. We regret it. We wish we could take it back, and we can't. You cannot pull out your words. And one of the things we do on the internet, as we engage as a society online, is that we type our words instead of speaking our words. And those words, I know every single one of us have done it, where we type out a section of words and then we read it and then we go back and we go, no, I didn't want to say it that way. I want to say it this way. And those words, even though they're not there when you make that post, they're still there. They're still accessible. They have proven that you can go back and retrieve all of those words. So all of your past mistakes, your oh no, I didn't want to say oh shit, I wanted to say oh shoot, and so you go back and you delete the shit and you write shoot. Well, shit's still there, and so think about that. Think about that when you go to do something, when you go to respond. Don't go to respond out of anger. Don't go to respond out of confusion. Be clear in your responses. Be of clear mind. Sit on it for a little bit. Don't pay attention to what anyone else is saying. Do not let anybody else influence you. One of the things that we do a lot as people is we listen to others' opinions of others. And we formulate our judgment of those people before even knowing them. This is practiced by everyone. It's just something that is in us to do, and so it's something that we have to work hard to break. And it's through very easy practice, and that practice is getting to know somebody first on your own, removing someone else's opinion of the subject and formulating your own. In order to do these things, you have to be an independent thinker. You have to be able to think for yourself, to formulate other ideas. This is something that's very key in people being pillars, is that they have to stand independently. They have to think independently. We are not all on the educational, we're not all on the same level educationally. Some of us have better knowing than others, and it's okay to do that. If you know something more than someone else, then teach them your ways, share them your ways. Don't scoff with those people. Don't say, oh, how could you be so stupid that you would think this way? Don't say that. That hurts people. That creates fear, and it removes their confidence. And when you do that, people stop asking questions. They stop learning, and they continue to create things in bad habits. And that's what you want to do when you educate, is remove bad habits. So how do we do this? How do we make sure that what we say won't be used against us in the future? This is very important. and you use sumo. Shut up and move on. Before you respond to something, you ask yourself 7 questions. And those questions, first, number 1, okay? Where is this on a scale of 1 to 10, where 10 equals death, horrible, and 1 equals life? How? Question number 1. Where is this on a scale of 1 to 10, where 10 is death and 1 is life? How bad is it? Number 2, this is very important. This is an important one. Where or how important will this be in 6 months? Are you even going to give this a thought in 6 months? You know, will it? Number 3, is my response appropriate and effective? George, you're a smart man. Can you please define for people what does it mean, effective?
Will it have a useful outcome if I give this information to the person that's asking me for it?
Right. Will it have a useful outcome? That's effective. Okay? And appropriate. Appropriate was before effective. What is appropriate? Jesus, can you explain to all of us what appropriate means?
Say appropriate is relevant to the situation, is measured and sober. So it's not something that is, it has to be relevant to the conversation, related to what's being talked about, and it should not come from a place of imbalance or anger or heightened emotion. Or at least if you, obviously heightened emotion is hard to get away from, but you have to.
And we can get
effective thing.
Thank you. And we can get very passionate about things, you know, and that's good. Passion is what drives us. It's okay to see something and you know, I'm gonna take from my own example. If there was another practitioner and that practitioner did people wrong, and that's something that I stand by ethically, is to treat your students well, treat your community well, you know, don't cheat them, be honest, be truthful, you know, be committed. And when this person, you know, did this to the people, that's something I'm passionate of. Yes, it made me want to respond immediately, right then and there, but had I responded right then and there, I would have proven a fool of myself. I would have proven, you know, I would have looked like an idiot. You know, I could have started cussing and, you know, talking about. When you respond like that, we talk about appropriate and effective. When we respond immediately, we also respond to things that are subliminally connected to that passion. That's how it happens. That's how you can make a comment that is inappropriate. You're fueling this situation with happenings from another situation, and you're allowing that to make your decisions for the instances now. Instances now are instances now, and instances then are instances then. Do not mix the emotions. It's hard. I have to catch myself on that one all of the time. I always feel from the past. And this is something that I was told by my mentor, that the reason why you feel this pull of emotions from the past is because that's your ancestors working through you in the present. You see, we have to learn how to separate that. Past emotions are past emotions, and present are present. Is this relevant now? What I'm about to express, is it a feeling that I'm drawing from now, or is it a feeling that I'm drawing from the past? Question number 2 is my response. Question number 4. How can I influence or improve the situation? This is most important. Well, they're all important. But how can I influence or improve the situation? Ask yourself that question. How can I influence the situation? First, you have to understand, do you want to influence the situation negatively or positively? Do you want to be the person that creates more drama, or do you want to be the person that begins to make it go away? Okay? So, yes, sir. Jesus, you have a question? No? Okay. So, can I improve the situation? This is the question that you want to ask yourselves as people who are trying to be effective leaders or pillars in their community. You never want to, make a situation get worse. What is the point in making things get worse? Can anybody tell me why you want things to get worse? Why? Anybody? George, please go ahead, and then Jesus.
It's never preferable to make things worse, but sometimes in order for people to be shown a clear picture of their situation, they have to see a negative before they see a positive. Not all the time, but sometimes.
This is very good. Are you pulling this from Chaos Magic?
No, just in general, sometimes a person has to be shown how bad things can get. This is just general. In order for them to see what they have, what they could have, and how things can improve if they go a different direction.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Jesus?
I'm pulling on from herbalism, I'd say, and that is that generally, like George said, you don't want to make things worse, but sometimes a fever has to be heightened in order to break it, and all the toxins have to be sweated out. Now that's not every fever, and preferably you want to decrease fever symptoms, but sometimes that fever has to be heated up a little bit more so that everything gets sweats out and it breaks faster. Now, I'm the last. I do not do well with conflict, and I do not like to make things worse. I like to make things better, but I will say that balance. So it's a very rare thing. Every now and then, I would say somewhere has to be added to break the fever.
I want you to think. Thank you, Jesus, so much for sharing, both of you too. Todd, welcome back. I hope your connection will stick around. I want you guys to think of something. Think of this. Why would someone want for things to get worse? And the answer to that question could be, perhaps they have something to gain from everyone's failure. When people want things to get worse, it is sometimes because they want to see people fail so that they can succeed. This is very unethical, and this happens a lot in our community. Not too long ago, and this was brought up most recently, but not too long ago, there was 15 people who were included in a particular message, and the message contained information about another individual and their past, and immediately people began to respond. And the responses that came into this message were so negative. They were so heavy. And they were not even voices. They were not even images. All they were words on the screen. And the way I saw people's response to this, now I was at work, so a majority of this conversation had taken place throughout the day. I didn't see it until the end of the day, because I'm already emitting my own negative energy, going, why is my phone blowing up over here? I wish it would just shut up, you know? And so when I saw all of these messages and stuff, it was so... I wish I could I'm going to use the word sickening. For me, it was very sickening. It made me feel very nauseous and heavy, just how some of these people were responding, and it was just words, you know. And some of these people were people who are looked upon one way, and they present themselves one way online, and then behind the scenes they're a completely different person, you know. And so think about situations like that when people start being ineffective and they want to see things fail. Look at those people, okay? Number 5, what can I learn from this? What can I learn from this situation? Okay? Some may say, I'll learn nothing from this situation. I'm not going to get anything out of it. But you might. Okay? I wasn't going to get anything out of that message that was sent to me about someone else's past. You know? I was learning nothing from there. Nothing that I'm going to need to retain in here. It was someone's past. It does not involve me. You know, it was taken care of back then. But what that little piece taught me was more what that happening taught me. When I saw what each one of those people was doing or how they were reacting to the situation, from that I learned. So always keep in mind, even though you may not intellectually gain something from something, there might be something else that you need to learn behind that. Always look for something that you can learn. If you can't learn anything from the situation, remove yourself from it. Then you have nothing to do with it, you know? Number 6, if you find yourself making a mistake, you gotta ask yourself, what will I do differently next time? And number 7. Number 7 is, what can I find that's positive in this situation? If we're to be positive people, if we're to be positive pillars, we need to look for positive situations. There was, I don't know if any of you saw the movie Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events. There's the little girl in there. She says something that's really important, and every time they're in a dilemma, she's always looking, and she says there's always something, you know, and that means there's always something, there's always a solution, there's always something that you can find, you know. So I utilize that every time I get stuck in a situation where I feel, you know, that I can't find any good in it, or I can't find anything. I'll ask myself that question. I'll always say, there's always something, you know. Or even if I'm stuck in a situation where there's a problem. Just for example, at work, if there's a dilemma, something needs to be solved and it just seems impossible, I'll always think of that little girl and I'll go, there's always something. There's always something. There's gonna always be a solution. And so I want you to break the questions down 1 through 4. 1 through 4 are basically just your analysis of the issues that have come up, okay, or of the issue that has arisen. That's what 1 through 4 is. And 5 through 7 help you to avoid those situations that come up, okay? So let's say, since many of us are involved online or even in our daily lives outside of the internet, we find ourselves getting involved in something. Maybe somebody made a post and we wrapped up in it passionately, and we start fumbling in our words. You see it a lot. No, that's not what I meant. Or maybe you misunderstood me. And it is easy to misunderstand people online. But we do it in real life as well. We'll come into a situation and we'll respond to it very passionately. Those of us who are couples, those of us who are married, I think everyone here is coupled. Yeah, so everyone here, that happens in our relationships. We respond out of passion to something, and then it creates negativity. Instead, if maybe we had an issue, I'm going to pick something silly. I got angry because the dishes were not washed. And so I responded out of passion and I yelled at my spouse, "Why are the dishes not washed?" What would my spouse's response to that be? "Why didn't you wash the dishes?" And there would just be anger all over the place. But instead, of responding to it out of passion, asking yourself the question, why are the dishes not washed? Well, I'm the first one home. My partner has not made it home yet. They're tired. And so, you begin to see things in a different light if you ask certain questions. Roxana's looking at Frank. We're all guilty of those things, both sides. So number 5, 6, and 7 help you to stay away from repeating certain situations like that. How can I not get myself involved in this any longer? This is, ladies and gentlemen, SUMO. All right? SUMO. Shut up and move on. All right? That's what we have to find ourselves doing in many situations. You'll get yourself on number 1 and you'll ask yourself, where is this on a scale of 1 to 10? And most of the time, that's the only question you need to ask yourself, because if it's not higher than a 5, you really don't need to be involved in it. If it's a 1, you shut up and move on. And if you get yourself to question number 2 and you say, how important will this be in 6 months? And it's not even going to be a blip on your radar, then you shut up and you move on. Okay? If your response is not going to be appropriate and effective, if your response is just going to create discord and more chaos and more negativity, shut up and move on. Okay? When you do this, when you shut up and move on, you find yourself with a lot of time on your hands. A lot of time to be productive for you, to be productive for your community. Think about this. This is one of the things that you will find in the first 2 chapters of the Rule of Benedict. The chapters are very short, so for this week, I'm going to assign you guys the first 2 chapters to read. All you have to do is read the chapters. We will begin to discuss them in our next coming weeks together as a group. But so pay attention. Start paying attention to your leaders, your key figures out there. call them out to yourself by name. Who is it that you look up to? Who is it that is, and it doesn't have to just be magical. This could be in your mundane life too. This could be writers. This could be singers. This could be your boss. This could be mentors. It could be a number of people that you look up to in your life. And look at these people and figure out who exactly they are. Are they reflective of what they're doing? Just going to point out something that Roxanne and I shared some dialogue this week over the phone, that she was noticing these core values from these different places. The different places had core values. And she has since most recently been selected to write about her company's core values for the newsletter. That's correct, Roxanne? Yeah. So I told her, I said, Roxanne, so now that you're noticing these core values in these companies and stuff like that as you go along, do they reflect the companies? Are they actually being carried out? Right? That's one of the things that you guys had to do over these last couple of weeks. So look at your leaders. Are they good leaders? Are they good role models? How are they responding to things? How are they treating people? You know, how do they respond to situations? Think about that, okay? So I'm going to let you guys absorb that. That was sumo. I'm going to let you all take a 10-minute break. Todd, just to let you know, there is a document, for anyone who just joined in, there is a document on the shared section, and it's the rule of St. Benedict is there. I'm also going to go on ahead and upload it up to the Facebook account right now, so that you guys can pull that up as well. And then we're going to go over a little bit of Benedict and why there is the name the Benedictine order. We will come back at 9 o'clock. I will see you guys in about 15 minutes. Okay? All right.